Fantasmas de Karesh. O sea, 100% etéreos, ¿no? Vale, solamente... Bueno, me habéis hecho spoiler de una key, pero quiero vérmelo todo. ¡Tazabesh!
Hello everyone and welcome
era
to
parte de
Wowcast.
etéreos,
Today we're
obviamente.
going to talk about the next major content
Hola,
update,
Nixie.
Ghosts of Koresh. To help us uncover what's in store, I'm joined by two developers who helped bring Koresh to life.
Okay.
Please introduce yourselves.
I'm Drew D'Souza, and I'm a lead encounter designer.
¿Souza
I'm
referencia?
Steph Yoon. I'm an associate lead quest designer, and I was also the point on this content.
Ojito,
First things first, what is
Ojito,
Koresh and why now?
So Koresh isn't a new term to us. You know, way back in Burning Crusade, we first heard about them when we met the Ethereals in Netherstorm.
Sí, Koresh es lo que
And, you know,
queda
they
del- es el
told us
planeta de los
tales
Ethereos, ¿no?
of Koresh, a beautiful arid homeworld
Sí.
for the Ethereals, until Dimensius the All-Devouring came and
Correcto.
consumed their world soul. So we
Sí.
helped the Ethereals get revenge in Netherstorm, and we thought the matter was finished. And for the first time here in Ghosts of Koresh, we'll be stepping foot on what's remaining of
vamos
that
al
planet,
planeta,
this
qué bueno.
shattered, void-touched land.
Vale,
Because
es
we've
como
heard
Argus.
that evil forces are trying to resurrect Dimensius the All-Devouring, and if that happens, the Ethereals are toast, and then Azeroth will be next.
Yeah, that doesn't sound too good for us.
O sea que Dimensius está oficialmente muerto. Pensaba que solamente habíamos matado una parte de su poder, pero está muerto canónicamente.
So,
Ok.
who's going to help us try to stop Dimensius?
You know, with a threat like this, it's all hands on deck. Within the last major content update, Illyria sort of took a step back and undermined. But she'll be here front and center with her old mentor, Locust Walker, as
Okay.
he brings us to his old home planet. And the eager players among us will have already gone through the content in Legacy of Aerithor, where there is a feature called Lore Walking, which gives hints
Sí.
to sort of the content that's coming up here in Ghosts of Koresh.
Sí, sí,
in
sí,
there,
sí.
we learned that Venari and the brokers are interested in helping. Not only that, they've brought their entire city, Tazavesh, the Veiled Market, from the Shadowlands and placed it here right in Koresh. So we'll be able to use that.
El contenido que quitaron de Shadowlands, Tazavesh como ciudad, como tal, para interactuar. Porque esto nunca lo tuvimos. O sea, Tazavesh tenía cosas que tú decías, vale, esto tiene que ser una nueva ciudad, en plan, parche de los etéreos estos de Shadowlands, y no lo pusieron, porque si te fijas, Tazavesh por dentro tiene todo. En plan, todo lo que tiene una ciudad. Tiene subasta, tiene correo, tiene mercado, tiene todo. Y Tazavesh va a ser como la ciudad del siguiente parche. God.
As a home base. We're going to gather as much help as we
Vale,
can
me gusta
so that we
eso,
can
sí,
face
sí, sí, sí.
Dimensius in the raid Manaforge Omega.
I'm excited to see Venari. I know a lot of other people are too. You mentioned the raid. Can you tell us more about
Raid,
that, Drew?
ojito.
Absolutely, there's a lot to talk about. So our raid in Ghosts of Koresh is Mana Forge Omega. It's a giant
Forja de
facility
Mana
that's been
Omega.
built up on the planet to harvest cosmic energy. We're going to be fighting our way in and through it to take on Shadowguard's Ethereals, who are trying to revive
Okay.
Dimensius. While we're in there, we'll face down with an army of Ethereals still being wrapped, the creature they're harvesting silk from, and even a mysterious council of demon hunters that have found their way onto Koresh.
Ok.
Oh, and of course, it's going to end with a cosmic level battle with Dimensius, who is the biggest raid boss we've ever made.
Wow.
How big are we talking?
Like City of Stormwind sized?
What?
Yeah.
Do you have any examples of
Qué
boss mechanics in
guapo.
the raid?
One that I think is really cool is
Dimensius.
actually our intro. Like I mentioned, this is a giant like mana intake facility, and we're actually going to come in through the pipe where they've taken the mana. We're actually going to utilize a artifact cloak we're introducing in Ghost of Koresh, the Reshi Wraps.
¿Capa artefacto,
to
escuchado?
Turn ourselves into energy and trick the filtration system. So our
Escuchado,
first
capa
boss
artefacto?
encounter is against a warden that's overlooking these pipes, and we're going to need to go in and out of energy forms to survive.
I'm excited for my druid to have another artifact. So let's break down Reshi Wraps. What's the fantasy behind it?
Mantón
We
Reshi.
wanted to give the players an upgradable artifact that had a visible component for transmogs, of course, because that's the true endgame of WoW, but didn't interfere with any tier sets. So the
Okay.
Reshi Wraps are an artifact cloak that helps us turn our bodies from corporeal into an energy form.
Vale.
You know, a very powerful person within the campaign helps us gather these ethereal artifacts and coalesces them into the Reshi Wraps. And
Vale.
it turns our bodies into energy form and basically allows us to see the world through the ethereal's eyes. With this, we'll be able to interface with an outdoor activity called phase diving, which
Vale, o sea, que
allows
no
us
da
to
daño.
enter untethered space, which is
Es como
an
para
entirely
pasearte,
different
¿no? Ya
way to
está.
look at Koresh. It's
Vale,
an
vale,
overlay
vale.
that introduces new creatures, new objectives, new world quests.
Vale, vale. Es
new
como un ítem para
mechanics.
transformarte en etéreo.
And the cool
Ok,
thing
ok,
about the
ok.
Reshi Wraps, it sort of interfaces with so much content across Ghost of Koresh. You can use it in the open world, you can use it in the dungeon, you can use it in the raid, and in delves as well.
Seeing the world in the eyes of
En la
Ethereal sounds
dungeon.
really, really cool. You mentioned
Okay.
delves. What is the new delve coming to Ghost of Koresh?
So we have a new delve coming in Ghost of Koresh, and this is called the Archival Assault. It takes
Assault
place in the
archivístico,
Azure Vaults
okay.
and Dragon Isles. You might be familiar with that place, but this time it's chock full of ethereals, ethereal pirates, some brokers, and they're plundering the place, and we're going to put a
Es
stop to
Cámaras
that
Azules,
with
¿no?
our buddy Bran. You'll be
Eso?
able to take advantage of your Reshi Wrap to
Cámaras
unlock
Azules.
unique challenge gateways. They might have boss rushes or unique challenge rooms and need the cloak to access them. Additionally, we're doing a little bit of a social
Vale.
feature in here where you'll be able to see your friend's presence. They might be able to leave you messages. You see their ghost running around where they died, maybe.
What?
Yeah.
So I can make fun of my friend dying.
Yep.
What? Un poco como Dark Souls, que te puedan dejar mensajes la gente en las profundidades. Hostia, esto está gracioso, ¿eh? Poder dejar mensajitos como en el Dark Souls o el Elden Ring.
That's
Eso
really
mola.
And speaking of dying, let's talk about our nemesis for this season.
Okay.
You might be familiar with her. Her name is Nexus Princess Kiveza. You have unfinished business with her in
Epa!
Erebor. She's got a whole new bag of tricks for you.
Kiveza
She's not
de
going to hold
nuevo.
back this time, and it's a 1v1 scenario, so buckle up.
Oh.
That's so exciting. I loved her fight.
sea, que no es voz
in
de la
Neverwhere
Rai
Palace,
Kiveza.
And so I was always wondering where she vanished off to.
Es de las
'cause you don't
profundidades.
actually defeat her. Let's head back to the outdoor world. What
Okay.
can we do on Koresh?
Yeah, there's two major systems. You know, the first one is called ecological succession. When we met the ethereals for the first time in Netherstorm,
Vale.
the two things that I noticed were their energy forms and their really cool ecodomes, right? These systems that allowed them to create biomes inside that didn't match what was outside. And here, basically, you'll be helping run one. Venari is trying to bring life back to those shredded parts of Koresh. And with that, she needs your help to fill it with animals.
O sea que Venari es el mismo tipo de etéreo que los otros etéreos. O sea que los etéreos de Shadowlands también vienen del mismo sitio que los etéreos normales, vamos a decir.
And creatures that really thrive in the Koresh ecosystem. What this means is that she'll ask you to go back to previous
¿Este es el tier
zones,
set
get
del Hunter?
animals, and
Está chulo.
experiment and see if they can survive in the Koresh ecosystem, and then release them to create a thriving ecology. Think of it as like a void Jurassic Park, where you're just sort of like trying
Sí,
to
como
make
un
sure
invernadero,
that
¿no?
this beautiful place can thrive. The other feature I want to talk about is phase diving. I already mentioned it a little bit when I was talking about the Reshi Wraps, but it's basically an overlay across all of Koresh,
Sí,
where
es
you
una
get to
fase,
switch
vaya,
to
es una
energy
fase, sí,
form
sí, sí.
and enter untethered space to access a whole slew of new content.
Sí, sí.
You can expect to see anything that you normally see in the outdoors, you know,
Una buena forma de que un
treasures,
planeta
rares,
pequeño
lore
sea el doble de
objects,
grande.
all that. But there's also
Sí.
things that are unique specifically
fases.
to phase diving. One of the features that I can talk about here is called warrants, where you're going to be helping the constable of Tazavesh hunt down notorious monsters.
I am looking forward to also building my own ecosystem. That sounds so cool. Anything with
Ah, que podemos
animals, you got me
construir nuestro
sold.
propio ecosistema.
Earlier we spoke about the new raid. What else is coming to season 3?
Oh, there's a lot to talk about here. So
Ojo.
first off, we have a new dungeon coming
Nueva
with Ghost
dungeon.
of Koresh.
El
It's called
invernadero,
Ecodome
¿no?
Aldani. It's very
Ecodome
important
Aldani.
to the ethereals.
El
It's a three-boss
invernadero que tienen,
dungeon.
ok.
We're going to be fighting through devourers,
Tres bosses
invading one of these
rapidita.
places, eating some of the wildlife Steph talked about earlier. That's bad. We're also going to be fighting off a force of wastelanders that have taken over this place. We're going to fight our way through and figure out why they want this place. One more note with this dungeon is it'll be immediately available on normal, heroic, and baseline mythic with the update on Ghost of Koresh.
Vale, bien.
I think
Sí,
the
sí,
really
como
cool
con
thing
puerta.
about Ecodome Aldani too is that the canonical route that the storyline takes place is the campaign, the raid, and then Ecodome Aldani. And that's not a thing that we do often, you know. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how people react to this cadence.
So what are the dungeons in the dungeon pool?
Ojo a
Oh,
la
yeah,
dungeons.
let's dive into that as well. Let's talk about the returning ones first. So we're going to head
Lo
back
sabía.
to Revendreth
Lo
and visit
sabía.
our friends, the Venthyr
José
and the Halls of
Bartolomé.
Atonement. The next two, like Steph mentioned,
Tazavesh.
Tazavesh is coming back.
Banger
so we
season,
said
eh?
Tazavesh
Banger
is coming
season,
back.
eh?
Of course.
That was
O sea,
a mega dungeon when it was first
mercado.
introduced, so we're going to break it into two
Las
pieces,
dos de
of course.
Tazavesh.
We're going to have Tazavesh
Calles
Streets of Wonder,
y
where we're actually
Gambito.
fighting through the markets and bazaars and streets of Tazavesh,
Banger
chasing
season, eh?
down Celia. And then we'll have the second half, which is Celia's Gambit, where we're chasing him through portals and eventually
Banger,
having
banger.
a
No,
final
no, no,
showdown.
no, no. Buah, esto va a ser
Tazavesh
buena
will
season. eh.
also be returning as a mega dungeon experience in Ghost of Koresh. Starting
Mama.
with season 3, you'll be able to play it in hard mode as the baseline mythic difficulty. It'll have increased challenges, hard mode mechanics, and really awesome rewards. I'm looking forward to it.
Otro
Oh,
hard
we
mode en
also
Tazavesh.
had a community
renovado.
vote for the last 4. What were the winners?
Yeah, it was really cool to see.
No,
what
rompe
players'
albas, no,
favorite
rompe
dungeons
albas, no,
were
rompe
more
albas, no,
than,
por
and the
favor.
4 that players chose were Operation Floodgate
Con puerta
from
me
season
gusta.
2, going back to punch some goblins,
Bien.
Priory of the Sacred Flame,
Priori
Just
me lo esperaba.
awesome
Está
Hollow
bien,
Fall vibes
me la
throughout.
esperaba.
And then we're going to round that out with 2 dungeons from Season 1 of The War Within, Arakara, City of Echoes, and the Dawnbreaker. Quick
¡No!
note for the Season 1 dungeons, we are going to take a pass, on the visuals, the combat pacing, the cast
Yeah.
times, the number
¿Quién ha
of abilities
votado
even, to make sure they're
Rompealbas,
aligned with Season
tío?
2 dungeons.
Are there any other
No,
important
hombre.
notes for players to know about for Season 3?
Actually, not directly Season 3 related, but on the day of the update for Ghost of Koresh, you're going to have
Y no
access
está
to
Trono del
non-bountiful
Triunvirato,
delves and all Season 3 dungeons for heroic and mythic, baseline mythic difficulties. That means there will be Season 3 tuning in there, but also Season 3 rewards. You can get yourself a head start. Of course, Mythic Plus and the raid will open the following week, but you should have plenty to think
Todas las
through
dungeons cortitas menos Calle de la Maravilla y con
one more
puerta.
thing. We've
No son
heard
tres
feedback
bosses.
for a long time now about how dungeon checkpointing works, especially in like Mythic Keystones where your timer's ticking down and whatnot. We're going to revisit our philosophy there on how long a run back is and when they unlock, and we actually want to visualize some of this in game through what we're calling waystones. So as you unlock checkpoints,
Vale,
you'll
bien.
have an icon on
Bien
your
esto.
map, and you'll also have these stones that warp in and show you if I release
Copiado
this
del
is when I'm
Fellowship
coming
esto,
back. I don't want people asking that question anymore.
That is so exciting
Copiado
because
esto
I
del
can't
Fellowship,
remember for the
el
life of me
releasear en un
every
sitio en
checkpoint
concreto
in a dungeon,
y
so
desbloquear el
thank you,
release si
guys.
llegas ahí.
And what about class
Me
sets?
gusta.
Yeah, there's new set
Tier
bonuses
sets?
to talk about as well. In Maniforge Omega, we're trying something different with the set bonuses. Up until now, they've been focused on your spec or your class. With
Sí.
this update, we're actually going to target your hero talents.
Talentos,
So in my
héroe.
case, I play an Arms Warrior, I play Colossus. I'll have bonuses targeting Demolish, but I'll still have spec hooks if I'm like a Prot Warrior versus an Arms Warrior to make sure that they're still competitive. We got you on the spec level, but we're targeting hero talents.
Oh, that sounds really cool.
Yeah, and players can look forward to a lot of class updates as well. A lot of
¿Cómo? Pero ¿te obliga a usar. ¿Te obliga a usar un talento héroe en concreto? ¿Lo he escuchado bien? ¿Te obliga a usar un talento héroe sí o sí?
Update, we're actually going to target your hero
Oh, no.
talents. So in my case, I play an Arms Warrior, I play Colossus. I'll have bonuses targeting Demolish, but I'll still have spec hooks if I'm like a Prot Warrior versus an Arms Warrior to make sure that they're still competitive. We got you on the spec level, but we're targeting hero talents.
Oh, that sounds really cool.
Yeah, and players
¿Sabéis cuál es
can,
de Warrior? Demolish pega 20% más y el crítico de tu habilidad aumenta hasta 20% basado en los objetivos que pegas con Demolish durante 10 segundos basado en el número de stats de Colossal Might que consumes. Vale. Demolish aumenta la chance crítica de tus siguientes 2 Mortal Strike 100%. Mortal Strike críticos aumentan el daño de Range y Deep Wounds 100% 8 segundos.
look forward to a lot of class updates as well. A lot of talent updates for specs such as Brewmaster Monks and Unholy
Ah, que el tier set cambia por talento héroe y no por spec. Ah,
a lot of
vale,
talent
vale,
updates
entendí.
for specs such as
Updates
Brewmaster
para el
Monks
monje
and
tanque
Unholy Death Knights.
y un Holy de K.
Now, along
¿Y
with
Rogue?
Season 3's PvE content, there's also a new PvP season. There
¿Y Rogue
are
qué?
several PvP talents that are being updated as well. And for those of us who like outdoor world PvP, there is an entire island called Vanquisher's Wake.
I'll be avoiding that.
And I'll be there.
Yeah.
Of course you would.
Before we wrap up, what are you both most excited for in this update?
For me, I'd have to say it's Dimensius. That's going to be a cosmic level encounter. There's planets blowing
Yeah,
up.
Dimensius está
It's
guapo.
awesome. Huge laser beams, you name it. Additionally, I think we have a really awesome dungeon pool this season. I'm excited for players to check out Tazvesh.
Sí, las dungeons son buenas. Sí,
I
a
am
ver.
also really excited.
Lo que no me gusta es Dawnbreaker, ¿eh? Dawnbreaker dudo mucho que vayan a fixear los bugs. Arakara es buena, pero es que Dawnbreaker, Rompealba, dudo mucho que vayan a fixear todos los problemas de base que tienes como Toldagor, no es fixeable.
About Dimensius, like such a glow up from the blueberry that he was before.
Baby blueberry.
But the thing that I'm most excited about, we're in The War Within, and The War Within is part of the World Soul Saga, a trilogy of expansions that, interweave their story all throughout. And so the campaign and the story within Ghost of Koresh will matter so much more to the next expansion than it has ever done before. I'm really looking forward to seeing how players go through the campaign and absorb the story.
I'm excited for everything you guys have mentioned. That's Ghost of Koresh, the void-touched major
Okay.
update coming to The War Within. Thank you, Steph and Drew, for hanging out with me and putting all your hard work into this update. And thank you all for watching. We'll see you in Koresh.
Ok, buen parche, interesante, ¿eh? Interesante cuanto menos, la verdad. Habrá que ver cuando salgan todos los tierces. No han salido todos los tierces, ¿no? Ni de coña, ¿no? No han salido, ¿no? Actualizaciones para Shadow Priest, Brewmaster Monk, Frost y un Holy de K. Vale. Ok. Ok. Épico. Épico. Ok, esto es interesante. Esto es la apariencia. Ok. Vale. Me gusta, sí. Me gusta. Me gusta, la verdad. No dice cuándo sale. Será en agosto. Saldrá en agosto, 100%. Tiene pinta. Oye, bien, la verdad. Bien. Interesante, ¿no? Interesante, la verdad. A ver cuándo pone... No han dicho PTR si esta semana o no. Así que estaremos pendientes, ¿no?